All right, today we are diving into one of the most influential self help philosophies of the last century. We're talking about a set of principles that has guided millions, offering a real, structured path from desperation to a whole new way of living. So let's get into it and explore the 12 steps.
Everything starts with this one sentence. It's the gateway, the moment of surrender that kicks the whole thing off. But what does it really mean to be powerless? And where does a journey that starts like this actually lead? Today, we're breaking down the philosophy behind the 12 steps, based on the interpretation from the Hazelden Foundation. So, the journey begins with this huge admission, and it's really broken down into two distinct but totally connected parts. This first act, if you will, is all about looking the problem straight in the eye, and then, right from that rock bottom, finding a reason for hope.
Okay, so step one makes this really critical distinction. Powerlessness here isn't talking about a lack of willpower. It's defined as the core disease itself, this physical and psychological thing. Then you have unmanageability, and that's the result. That's all the chaos the disease creates in your life. From arguments and job troubles to those internal feelings of immaturity or self-centeredness. And this is where the whole problem gets reframed. The program introduces this idea of an X factor, some kind of unknown physical element, almost like an allergy. This completely shifts the perspective. Addiction is no longer seen as a moral failing or a weakness. Instead, it's treated like a progressive disease, just like diabetes or a heart condition. The thinking goes, you're not responsible for having the disease, but you are responsible for your recovery once you know you've got it.
So that brings up a pretty big paradox, right? If you are truly powerless over this thing, how on earth can you get better? Where is the hope supposed to come from? Well, the program suggests that hope isn't found by digging deeper inside yourself for more strength, but by looking outside of yourself. And that's where step two comes in with the idea of a power greater than ourselves. Now, this is a famously flexible concept. It absolutely does not have to be a traditional god. For a lot of people, this higher power is just the group itself, or the collective wisdom of everyone else in recovery, or maybe just the principles of the program. The whole point is to find a source of strength outside of your own completely exhausted willpower. Which brings us to step three, and this is a major turning point. See, it's not just about believing something anymore. It's about making a decision. This is the moment a person decides, okay, I'm going to stop fighting it my way, and starts to actively cooperate with this new set of principles, turning their will and their life over to the care of whatever higher power they've chosen to believe in. All right, so with that foundation of hope now in place, the program shifts gears in a big way. The next phase isn't about belief anymore. Now, it's about rigorous, honest, and sometimes really difficult action. This is the journey inward. So where does this really intense inner work even start? I mean, how do you begin to untangle all the patterns that led to that unmanageability in the first place? Well, it starts with something the program calls a searching and fearless moral inventory. Now, step four is basically a written self-assessment, but the goal here is absolutely not self-punishment, it's self-knowledge. It's about taking an honest look at your patterns of resentment, fear, dishonesty, all that stuff, to figure out where it's all coming from. And what's really important is that it's a balanced inventory. You're supposed to list not just your defects, but your assets and strengths too. But just writing all that stuff down isn't enough. Step five demands that you break the isolation that secrecy creates. You have to share that inventory, the exact nature of your wrongs, with your higher power, with yourself, and, this is the big one, with another human being. And here's why that is so incredibly important. I mean, psychologically, we know that the act of confession helps reduce guilt and shame. That's the exact principle at work here. By saying these things out loud to another person, the power they hold over you starts to fade. You release that burden from the past, and you can begin to really accept yourself, warts and all. Okay, so in steps 8 and 9, all this internal work starts to move outward. And here we get another one of those critical distinctions, the difference between an apology and making amends. Think of it this way. An apology is just words, right? I'm sorry. But amends are actions. It's about correcting wrongs, changing your behavior, and actually making things right. And this part is guided by a really powerful ethical principle. The idea is you make direct amends to people you've harmed, but, and this is a huge but, there's one major exception. You don't do it if making those amends would cause new harm to them or to anyone else. Basically, cleaning up your side of the street shouldn't mean messing up someone else's.
So the final steps are all about transforming this massive, difficult work from a one-time house cleaning into something totally different. This is about creating a daily practice, a new design for living that helps you maintain this new way of life for the long haul. See, steps 10, 11, and 12 aren't an end point. They're meant to be a continuous, reinforcing loop. Step 10 is kind of like a mini step 4 that you do every day. You spot check yourself and admit when you're wrong right away, which helps interrupt those old negative patterns in real time. Step 11 is about deepening that spiritual connection. And step 12 is all about paying it forward, practicing these principles in all parts of your life and helping others who are still struggling. And this is the ultimate promise of the whole program. The result of working these steps is described as a spiritual awakening. But we're not talking about a flash of lightning from the sky. It's more of a profound personality change, a total transformation in your outlook on everything. It's a new state of mind where life, which might have felt totally meaningless before, suddenly has purpose and direction. When you get right down to it, the program offers this set of universal principles for self-examination, making things right, and spiritual growth. The ideas themselves aren't new, really, but putting them together in this specific sequence has been so powerful that it's been adapted by hundreds of different self-help groups for all sorts of issues. By taking a personal crisis and turning it into a structured, step-by-step path, the 12 steps provide a framework that millions of people have used to find a new way forward. It really is a design for living, one built on honesty, humility, and service. And that just leaves us with a final thought for you. What principles guide your own daily life?